Hello and welcome to Tranquil Journeys. I'm Jennifer Fatir and I'm here with Allison Clement, and we are your instructors. Allison and I are both Reiki masters, and between the two of us, we've been training in complementary practices such as sound for relaxation, massage therapy, Ayurveda, and Reiki. We've been teaching and affiliated with Images of Hope for over 5 years to bring healing arts classes to cancer patients, trauma patients, caregivers, and anyone affected by cancer or trauma in El Dorado County. We're so happy that you're taking the time to join us today, and we thank you for your continued support of Images of Hope and our virtual classes. Today, we'll spend time on self-care practices and meditation to tap into the power of silence. We hope that you leave our session feeling refreshed and nourished and guided by your own inner wisdom. And so now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Allison and we'll get started.
Yes, the power of silence. You know what made me think of this topic? It was after our last class, I was listening to the playback of the singing bowls, the longer stream of singing bowl sounds that I did, and I thought, something's not quite right. And then I realized that I wanted more silence in between the strikes, each strike of each bowl. There was not enough space in between. And it got me thinking of the power of silence. Before I talk any more on that, I thought I'd give some examples. So, we all know the power of silence in terms of meditation. Jennifer and I are always talking about the value of even a short meditation every day, or just paying attention to your breath. That is one example of the power of silence in relaxation, stress relief, better sleep promotion. We need silence as much as we need sound. And the silence after sound gives more power to sound. And in that sense, I'll talk about negative space. And first, I'll just start off with breath and negative space. So, first, I'm going to take a bit of inspiration from a great book called Music Medicine by Christine Stevens. And she talks about the power of silence a little bit in that. And she encourages us to begin with a few deep, even breaths. And you let your mind, she says, be embraced by the gentle rhythm of your breath. As your breaths slow down and deepen. And the way she says is that tuning into your breath is its own soundtrack and your own instrument of silence. And that establishes a sense of peace. She says, I'm quoting here, there is a rich moment of silence between the inhale and the exhale of breath. Hold the silence before and after you breathe, and just be with your breath. And as you exhale, just empty your mind. And this is her next advice. Invite your mind's ear to listen to music and the silences within music. She said, listening to the silence within music is like looking at art from the perspective of negative space. We can look at either the lines and colors or the empty spaces. Let the music draw your attention into a single focus and listen for the moments of absence where there are no notes or beats. Okay, so that's my little excerpt from Music Medicine by Christine Stevens. Now I'll take off on my own. I wanted to explain a little bit more about the concept of negative space. I'll never forget in an art class I took, the teacher had us draw a chair, but not by drawing the outlines of the chair, the legs, the seat, etc. She had us draw a chair by filling in the spaces around the chair, between the slats in the back, between the legs. We filled in the space with our pencil, leaving the white form of the chair. That was an exercise in appreciating negative space. And I have some examples I'll show you. I hope they show up okay on the camera. Here's an example of a plant drawn by just drawing the negative space. You just fill in with your pencil the space in between the leaves, around the leaves, leaving the form of the plant emerging. This is a famous optical illusion that uses negative space. I think you're probably all familiar with this. Is it a vase or is it two faces looking at each other? So depending on how you look at it, which one is the negative space, the space in between? Is it this between the two faces? Or is the negative space the white around the black vase? And my favorite example of negative space is, I just love this piece of art. It's a very, very old Japanese, it's from a screen, a painted screen. And hope it shows okay on the camera. Pine trees in the mist. And the painted pine trees in black form a very small proportion of this painting. Most of it is negative space, the white mist, and its effectiveness comes from the negative space. And that's the best example I could find of how silence is of value, whether you're listening to music, whether you're doing a meditation, the spaces between the singing bowl sounds, the negative space, the silence, creates the value of the sound. So there's my little lesson in negative space and silence. I was listening to an interview with a great fiddle player, violin player from Scotland originally, but now he lives in Nevada City. The interview was on KVMR. I love that radio station. They're based in Nevada City. And Alistair Fraser was talking about music, about his music. And I wrote down what this phrase that he used because it was so wonderful. He said, as he was talking about the music experience, playing and listening to music, he said, he was talking about how you enter the notes and how you spend time between them. The time between the musical notes. So that's the silence we're going to talk about with regard to the singing bowls. And I'll give you a demonstration of how I listen to singing bowls. And we're going to talk a bit more about this in terms of listening to the sound. Today, I want to talk about listening to the silences in between. So we use the singing bowls. If you are new to our class, we use the sound of the singing bowls for relaxation. It helps to quiet the mind. It's particularly good at the beginning or the end of a meditation. Listening to the sounds, it stops that mind chatter. It quiets the monkey mind. So I listen to the sound, the undertones of each bowl, because there are more than one tones to each bowl, especially these antique singing bowls. They have all these undertones. So I listen to that, all the variations in the tones, and then I listen to the sound until I can no longer hear or feel the vibrations. And then I follow that sound, and then I listen to the silence. And it's that point where the sound becomes silent. That to me is the magical point. And I'll give you some examples of, first of all, when you don't have the silence in between. I'll play a couple bowls. Listen to this without the silences. And then I'll play it with the silences. See what you think. Okay. Okay. So I didn't leave any spaces between each strike of the bowl. Now I'm going to play a shorter version of that with some silence between. I'll let the vibration just finish before I start. Okay. So I didn't want that to go on too long, because I don't know how much you can hear from where you are compared to my ear, where I am right next to them. But I think you can tell there's more power if you have the silences in between. And I'll give you one more example here. Try to find that point where you can no longer hear the sound, and then you listen to the silence. So there's our there's our quick lesson in how to listen to silence. And I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer for more practice in the power of silence with a guided meditation. Oh,
All right. Thank you, Allison. So let's go ahead and get into a comfortable seated position. Just begin to notice your inhale and your exhale. You can let your eyes close if you'd like once you get comfortable, whether you're sitting in a chair or lying on the floor. If you are sitting in a chair, make sure your feet are flat on the floor, just so you can feel grounded and secure, comforted by the support of the surface beneath you. And then just take a nice deep inhale, letting the breath go deep into the belly and release the breath. If you'd like, you can put the one hand on the chest and one hand on the belly so that you are feeling the breath move from the chest all the way into the lower abdomen on the inhale and exhale. Just imagine your body becoming more and more relaxed as you focus on the breath, the gentle rhythm that exists in your own body. Just let your thoughts come and go. If you begin to drift, just come back to your inhale and exhale, trying to listen to the sound of the breath in your own body, whether you can hear it or not. Acknowledge what it feels like to hear your own breath and the space between the inhale and the exhale. Put your attention on your lower body, your lower abdomen, your hips, your lower back. your thighs, your knees, ankles, and toes. And as you breathe in, let go of a sigh of release. Enjoy the breath, relaxing the lower body, imagining any tension melting away. With each exhale, use the breath to imagine muscles spreading so that any tightness is being loosened. And just hold your focus on the lower body and the breath. Using the breath as long as you need to relax this area gently and easily. And then you can move your focus to the center of the body. Include the back, the mid back, the shoulders, front and back of the shoulders, front and back of the chest, stomach area, the arms, elbows, hands, and fingers. And again, use your breath to bring a sense of relaxation and peace and calm to all the inner organs of the body. Maybe you notice as you breathe, the shoulders naturally fall as they loosen. They fall away from the neck and the ears, giving a little more space. And again, just really notice how powerful the breath is, relaxing this entire area. Breathing a few times here, giving your entire focus to this area. And then just move your attention to the neck, front and back of the neck, the head, forehead, your cheeks, your mouth, very top of your head. Breathe in and out so that this area is nurtured just as completely as the rest of the entire body. And now just focus on the entire body, all of it together, feeling totally peaceful, silent, relaxed on every level, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And now just sit silently, let the silence surround you. Tune into your own inner world and inner wisdom, letting your body's own inner rhythm sit in silence. And we'll just continue to sit in silence for a moment. Now we'll just come back to the space that we're in, slowly awakening ourselves back to our environment. And just take a moment to open your eyes when you're ready. Shift around in your chair. I just have a couple of acupressure activities to remind you that you can stimulate the energy flow in your body, and you can do these things easily on your own, either before or after meditation, just to kind of enhance the flow of energy. And so we'll just start with putting your palms over your eyes as you're waking up. Just take a breath here. And then just let your fingertips rest right above the eyebrows, over the forehead, and take a breath. And then move your hands over the top of the head. And again, take a breath here. And if you want to give yourself a little scalp massage, there's so many acupressure points on the head and neck, over the entire body, but you can really target the ones easily on your head and face yourself. So it's great to just take a moment out of your day and just do a little head massage using your fingertips as if you're shampooing your hair. And you'll get to all of those acupressure points on the head. And then you can give yourself a little squeeze of the neck with one hand, just squeeze the opposite side of the neck. And then same thing with the other hand. And then you can come to your eyebrows and just let your fingertips start at the inner eyebrow, and then let your fingertips drift and pull over the top of the eyebrow to the temples. Do a little bit of circular motion on the temples. This is great for headaches or insomnia. And then you can actually pinch the skin behind the eyebrows, starting at the inner eyebrow and working your way out to the edge of the eyebrow and temples. And if you don't have a lot of skin behind your eyebrow, it's okay. You can just massage the eyebrow. That works as well. But when you get to the end of the eyebrow, just let your fingertips stay there. There's a little acupressure point. You can kind of feel it. Little point there. Give some circular movement just to release tension in the mind. There's a point right between the eyebrows called the bliss point. You can do some circular movement there. Just hold the point a few seconds. Always taking your breath a little bit deeper as you're doing these points. And then just tap the jaw. Let go of tension in the mouth and jaw area. Sometimes we don't even realize it's tight until we put some pressure here. You can tap. Then do under the nostrils, above the lip, and under the bottom lip, base of the chin. And then just stroke very lightly down the chin. If you want to look up a little bit higher to stretch the neck, do whichever is comfortable for you, but remember always to never strain and to always be very comfortable when you're doing these activities on yourself. And finally, there's that wonderful point under the collarbone. So you just search around for where your collarbone is, and then there's a natural indentation right under the collarbone in the center. And that is a great point for anxiety. So take a breath here. And if you can't find it, you can just simply place your thumb and index finger, your palm across the chest, right under the collarbone, and where the thumb is and the index finger end up, that's your acupressure point to help reduce anxiety. And then just finish with your hands over your heart area, accepting all of the wonderful silence you've received from the meditation and listening to the power of silence. And I'll turn it back over to Allison for some last few tips.
On the internet, if you do a search for always be silent in 5 situations, if you search for something like that, um, it will bring up different variations of what the 5 situations are in which silence is best. So these are life situations. And I'm just going to share a few of the ones that I saw come up the most often in terms of a situation where it's best to remain silent. And the first one, the one they seem to all have in common, is in situations of anger. So when you're angry, if you're in a conflict of some sort, argument, step back, remain silent. That keeps you from saying impulsive things that you might regret later without having given it enough thought. Stepping back and being silent will let you think more clearly. So you can sort of take up the topic later on when you've had more time to really think about it, away from that immediate impulse of maybe saying something that you might be a bit sorry for. So in times of anger, try to maybe step back, be silent. So that's the number one time that they advise in terms of the power of silence. Another one is in times of grief, your own grief, and when others are grieving. Sometimes, when others are grieving, you just can't find the right words. There are no right words. There's no right thing to say. But a silent, caring presence, a hug, that can be the best comfort. That can be the best thing. And when you're the one grieving, some silent time allows you to feel your feelings and not repress them. That's healthy if you acknowledge your feelings, and it gives you silent time gives you time to process. So in times of grief, another one that comes up sometimes is when others are maybe having a good gossip about somebody. Maybe don't think twice about participating in that. Just stay silent. Don't participate yourself. That's a good time for silence. And this one kind of surprised me. And then when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, it's in times of success. If you've had a great success, have some silent time about it rather than maybe, saying, hey, look what I did. Stay silent for a little while. Feel gratitude for what has happened, and take a little time for some self-reflection after you've had a success in something. So I kind of liked that one. Another time for silence is in times of success. So that's just something that I've been learning and appreciating. Still have some things to work on myself, but that's good. We all do. And another example of the power of silence. So that's pretty much all that we have to share with you for this class. We'll end with a quote or a poem, as we always do. And this one is by the great poet Mary Oliver. And the name of this poem is Praying. And that can be whatever it means to you, whatever your spiritual path is or isn't. It's sending something of yourself up to the universe. So here's what she says. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot, or a few small stones. Just pay attention, and then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks, and a silence in which another voice may speak. Mary Oliver, thank you for that. And thank you also to Images of Hope, El Dorado, whose support makes this possible for all of us. Thank you for your support. We're always so grateful, and we're grateful that anything that we might share might be of use to you in your next month or so. And take some time to appreciate the power of silence this month. So thank you again from me and Jennifer. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.